Hi, and welcome to the Global Oneness Summit. I'm Suzanne Giesemann,
I'm Michael Sandler.
and we are so excited to be part of this with the topic Birthing a New World. And you're going to find out in the time with us why we've changed that topic for our panel to Thriving Through the Labor Pains of Birthing a New World. Michael, perhaps you want to tell everybody why we chose that one.
Ow. But I do have, in this beautiful glamping environment here, I do have a 14-week-old newborn who was birthed anew, we could say, just 14 weeks ago. And we did experience, actually, those labor pains continue after labor.
Yeah, I follow Michael's work. We're friends, and I followed him through his and Jessica's journey with their babies. And the labor experience you went through was phenomenal. And as anybody knows, labor does not come without pains. And this summit is about helping all of us realize that we are going through a painful time as humans, and we have an opportunity to birth that, but it doesn't come without a little discomfort.
And there's a difference between pain and suffering. So for Jessica and myself, when it came time to labor, we actually went into a dance. And we danced for hours. It wasn't that the contractions didn't take place. It wasn't that the pain wasn't there, but we didn't label it as such, which made it a very different experience. And we can all use that in life.
I love that. I was just sharing with my husband at dinner how you and Jessica dance, because it's going to be one of the three keys how to thrive through these birthing pains. At the end, we'll share the three keys, but spoiler alert, the first one is flowing and dancing. So you just surprised me there that you didn't label it as what, pain or labor or what?
No, we didn't label it as pain. It just was, whatever it was. It was a contraction. I had a device next to me that showed me as she was going into a contraction, so I could actually let her know, not that she didn't know it.
Oh,
and
wow.
You could see it build up, and you would brace yourselves, embrace through that time, and you could then thereby flow with it. And I don't want to get ahead of the game, but it was very important to understand that flow so that she knew what was coming and could control it. Well, control maybe is a sense of illusion, but she could be with the experience rather than be surprised. Most important thing was not to label it, because every contraction is simply the baby moving closer to being with you on the outside. It's actually a beautiful thing. And so there was this dancing and movement. Here comes the contraction. Let's move, let's dance, let's help her down, rather than, oh God, how are we going to make it through this next one?
And that's what we hear from so many people as we watch the news, we read the headlines, and right away we go to negativity. I feel that's the human way. We're programmed to look at the negative and to label it. And what I would love is for everybody to see that that's the programming and learn that you can see things coming and choose how to view them, like you
I
did.
love that you call it programming, because I don't believe it's the human way that has to be. It maybe is humanity 1.0 or who knows what number, with the society that chooses to label, this is good, this is bad, this is going to be hard, this is going to be incredibly challenging, rather than to help us to paint a different picture of, okay, yes, this is going to be painful, but it can actually be something incredibly beautiful. That's not what society has taught us. When we're raising baby Hannah, we're trying to teach her a different way. And that's what you and I are discussing here tonight.
Yeah, I love that you use the word way, because the way I try to live is by a path that I call the awakened way. And that is where we all realize we are not only human. To me, that's the only way we're ever going to change humanity, is by helping people awaken to the fact that we are both human and, first and foremost, souls.
Yeah, I call us energetic beings having an energetic experience in human form. We get to live on both sides of this energy veil. We came here for a reason, to incarnate. But what you're saying is so true. We have to remember who and what we are, or we get stuck in the trauma and drama that is not us.
Yeah, I just had a chance to go to a bookstore. I haven't been to one in ages, and was just stunned by all the self-help books that only focus on the human side, instead of showing people there's another way. And it's actually by tapping into the greater reality. That's the awakened way. And you're a mystic, Michael. And so you know there's another way. I'd love if you just explain for people what a mystic is first.
To me, a mystic is somebody that is aware that there is a matrix and they're not stuck living in it. Not this big bad matrix, but we're able to see without eyes, hear without ears, know without thoughts, and live on both sides of the veil. So we can take a higher perspective and look, okay, what Michael is going through right now, that's challenging, that's tough, that's kind of icky, but there's probably a spiritual reason. There's probably something great that can come out of it. This is an experience that is going to help him to learn and grow. And being able to take that second person perspective on everything changes you from being locked into the experience to be able to really see the richness of everything. And we no longer label things as gloom and doom, no matter how much the media or the news or the who knows what wants to entrance and entrain us into a state of negativity. As a mystic, you are not stuck there.
That's the thing. But the thing is, most people, first of all, don't even know what a mystic is. I noticed that they're introducing both of us as mystics, and we are. But my goal, I know it's your goal because you run a school for mystics, is to help everybody know that we can all be mystics. It's just a shift in perspective. It's a shift in understanding of who we are. It's not something that you are either born a mystic or not. You can learn to see the world through the same perspective that you just spoke of.
I couldn't agree more. And what's most interesting and exciting to me is the people who are drawn to listen to you, the people who are drawn to listen to me and to the summit are empaths. We're energetically sensitive. Those who are energetically sensitive are the first to go and become mystics again. We were born as mystics, but we forget who and what we are. But that energetic sensitivity is your superpower. Once you learn how to tap into it rather than label it because we've been told we're too sensitive, once we go, wait a second, that's like my sixth sense. I can use that and navigate the world a different way. Everything changes.
It sure does. I mean, I spent 20 years as a Navy officer and didn't realize that that sensitivity was a gift. But now I totally embrace it. And it's a matter of finding the balance. We can find the balance between the left brain, logical, analytical thinking, the right brain, flowing, sensitive side, and thrive in this world that way.
Absolutely. And I think that's actually what we're talking about in a sense here this evening.
Well, that's the goal, to show everybody that no matter where you are, and many people watching will be those left brain people and think, oh, I can't be intuitive like those other people. And we all have all of these traits through intention and educating yourself and doing certain practices like one we're going to share with you at the end of the program. We can all learn to find that balance.
I like that you use the word practice because it's a practice. Let's call it what it is. It's a practice in being a human being. And a human being isn't an automaton stuck trained in one side of the brain, stuck trained in nervous system responses or in the egoic fear-based mind. It is this beautiful creature, balanced, grounded, connected, heaven and earth, walking through this world, more awakened, more aware, at a higher vibrational state, and here to help oneself and to help the world. That's what a human being is. And if we can help people to get back to that, going to that flow and dance, going to surrender, going to trust, you live and dance in the world a different way. Everything becomes more fun. You find yourself out on a boat.
I know you're talking
and
about
you're
me
going,
because we just
how
got a
does it
boat.
get any
Yes.
better than this?
And you name your boat Gratitude, because gratitude is one of the easiest ways to get centered and align with the deeper part of all of us. That's the soul. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
So why don't we dive in, because we can give some time to each of these three keys to thriving in this new world that's kind of coming because of the shift in consciousness. But before we get to the three keys, the way I said it that way is, Michael, I picked up a book the other day, opened it up, and it talked about how tough times are now, how we're just experiencing a lot of chaos, how countries are fighting each other, people are fighting each other, politics is at a frictional what's the word? Go climax. It's just, really awful. But Michael, then I looked and I turned back. The book was written in 1948.
Mm-hmm.
So, we say that we're on the shift of consciousness, yet you can find books that go back decades, and people always looked at things as going downhill. But I truly do believe that we have more and more of us are sensitive to who we are, and that is what is going to make the difference.
And it's an accelerator. So yes, in 1948, people had just gone through stuff going down. And now you've got a Soviet bloc forming, and you've got all of these political changes and upheaval taking place. But that took place over decades. Now that kind of political upheaval and change takes place in months, if not weeks. We are on an accelerator of change. We all chose to come here to embody at this special, terrific, wonderful, horrific, challenging, and unbelievable, so painful, so joyous time to be the wayfarers for humanity to ascend. We are basically electrons. I'm a physics geek. I'm a science geek. We are electrons that are about to hit a state change. We're about to be hit with so much energy. We're vibrating, and all of a sudden, boing, we're going to pop to that next level. So we do what we don't want to do.
Everybody vibrates as fast as you do, Michael.
It's metered. But with that said, we each vibrate in our own way. With that said, if we allow ourselves to vibrate at our purest state, all of humanity comes up, and it is an inside job. That's what you're seeing, Suzanne, in popular culture, in the movies, in the vernacular. People are more awake and aware that we are energy. There is this universe. There are, we can call it angels, guides, source, giant cheeseburger in the sky, whatever we want, that there is something more. And I think it is actually, as challenging as it is, a beautiful time to be alive.
Well, anytime that we're alive, we chose this, and inside us is a soul that just knows that we're part of something good, something awesome, and that has to bubble through. It's just why we're here. So hopefully those of you listening recognize that. But getting back to this, this is a time of acceleration. Still, we learn and we change through pain. I just spoke, Michael, at a conference with 900 parents with a child across the veil. And I doubt that more than 10% of them would have even thought about the things we were talking about at that conference had it not been for such tremendous pain in their lives. So if we can look at the struggles that we're going through now on a global basis, on a national basis, on a personal, in your home basis, and see those challenges as a way to wake us up, then we turn it into something positive. That's the goal here.
Couldn't agree more. And I want to be very, very careful here, because a loss is a loss. But from our own growth, it can be a gift. I don't wish it on anyone. We've gone through 3 miscarriages and lost a twin in utero. We've been down the road. It's not the same for everybody. It's not the same as having that child walking and talking with you. I get it. But a loss is a loss is a loss. But it is also a transformational gift. That spirit came in, experienced what she or needed to experience. They went back home. They got something. And we were gifted with an opportunity if we choose it.
That's right. And it can go either way. But once you start to find out the deeper lessons in our suffering, then you realize the choice is always going to be for following that nudge inside.
Yeah.
So let's move on then to 3 keys to thriving through the chaos. All right. And embracing this new way of living. We touched on the first one already. Love to talk about it again. We talked about dancing, but I would say the first key is to flow/dance, flow or dance, however you want to put it.
You have to find that flow line, that place where you're not resisting or not banging your head against the universe. So important to look for. Oftentimes we are 1 degree off, or it's almost like you have a doppelganger. You have a mirror image of yourself right next to you. This you is in flow. This you that's coming from the thinking mind is out of flow. And we just need to scoot over to the side and say, where is the path of least resistance? And allow the universe to carry you forward.
Resistance is the word right there. I recognize today an opportunity to flow. We were at the veterinarian's office and our little dogs were barking like crazy, and a woman across the waiting room was so irritated at us for not controlling the dogs, try to control a dachshund. And so irritated at the dogs, she gave me this look that just made my insides go like this. And all of a sudden I remembered my own teaching, flow. And to me, flow is an acronym for feeling loving, open, wholeness. The moment I realized that her reaction is part of the wholeness, that everything can't possibly be good as we label it, but every situation has good and bad opposites. However anybody reacts, that's part of the wholeness. If I feel that, then I experience wholeness, no longer resisting, like you said, Michael. And just that reminding myself, flow with it. Suddenly she wasn't the enemy. We're just part of one big experience.
This is so, to me, it's so cool that you're saying this with your military background, because what you got to do is you got to take into Tai Chi is what I call it. You got to Tai Chi, or to take in. If you've ever done Tai Chi, there's this push hands, there's this ebb and flow that you play with others, or taking in the energy and moving it back around. So you took in the energy of, I am so upset and disappointed with you. And you opened your heart and you sent back love.
Yeah.
What
and her
a
whole
game of
attitude
flow.
changed. Her whole attitude changed. And that's the beautiful part, as did mine, of course. I was able to just relax. And so everybody just remember that, feel the wholeness, feel loving, open wholeness. Open means no resistance. Doesn't mean you have to approve, right, Michael?
No, there's a big difference between, somebody giving you the monodigital response and approving to it as you're driving down the highway versus still being able to send them love and stay in your heart-centered space. And that's what we're being challenged to do today. If I go back to Jessica and I dancing there, the pain is the pain. There's no getting around it. We're not going, woohoo, more pain. But we can be open to the experience and know that this is serving us on some level and serving the baby on some level, see things in a different way, and thereby dance with it.
And you just reminded, as you said, flowing with it, that you, I'm sure, held in your awareness, this too shall pass. We know that a contraction is going to peak and then it's going to pass. And that's the way all pain is in this life. Everything is temporary except the soul.
And it's so true, and particularly if somebody who's watching this has been experiencing a dark night of the soul. I promise you, it will pass. It's so cliche, the darkness before the dawn, but the light always comes in the morning. And in fact, after you've been through these experiences, the light to me can shine even brighter. Of course, again, we have to choose it.
Yeah, when my stepdaughter died, struck by lightning, you just think we'll never get over this. We'll never be happy again. And then you start to see the silver linings, you start to learn things, and you start to see how everything in life goes in cycles. Life itself goes in cycles. Yeah. So flowing and dancing, that image of you seeing the contractions coming and dancing through it just blows me away. Beautiful.
It was almost, in a sense, fun. It was like a high school dance. That's what it felt like. And we're in this embrace, and it was just pure love. And there was such a closeness to it. And each contraction brought you closer and closer and closer together, which is actually the human condition, if you allow it, that each contraction, each moment of suffering, of difficulty, of pain can bring you closer to spirit, closer to another, closer to yourself, if you embrace it rather than push away from it.
Exactly. Just like happened today with that woman. I love it. The other day, my husband said something and I was like, no, he can't have that opinion, right away. Again, that opinion plus mine is part of the wholeness. And the anger and the separation just dissolves. So, okay. So that's the first key. Second one, Michael, you said this right after your little baby Hannah was born. It was the way you got through the whole experience. The second key to thriving is surrender. Take it away, Michael Sandler.
Well, when baby Hannah was born, so I got to hold her in my arms briefly. Jessica got to hold her in her arms. And then she was whisked away to see if she needed emergency heart surgery. And to have your baby taken away
Hmm.
is craziness. And then she came back to us for a few days, and then she did have heart surgery. We had to let go, not of the love for her, not of the desire to have her, not of any of this, but we had to completely let go of the outcome so that we weren't fractured. In fact, we had to have surgery months before that to let go of our baby, twin baby that wasn't going to make it so that we could save baby Hannah, who was. And if you try to fight these situations, if you don't surrender into them, I'm convinced it will tear you completely apart because you're fighting against the universe.
That's
It's
it.
much bigger and stronger than you.
And the problem is most humans think we have control and can control things, and we try to control things. So surrender is definitely not a weakness. It's an acceptance of what is. And then you say, yes, this is what is. And now tune into what your next possible step is, but not in a way of trying to control it.
There's this amazing teacher that I know who loves to say, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I know that person.
And to me, that means, wow, look at this. This is how things are. I can't do anything to change how things are. I can change how I react to the situation, how I reframe the situation, what is the dance, the flow that I'm going to look for from the situation, but I surrender into the situation is the situation. The egoic mind doesn't want to do that. It wants to say no.
And that's what the surrender is. I teach a 7-step method, the Bless Me method, for connecting with higher consciousness. And the first S in Bless Me is surrender. And I teach that it doesn't mean I give up. What it really means is I set aside the story. I set aside my identification with being the contents of my story. And from there, then you shift to soul awareness. That's the second S. And it's the soul who says, isn't that interesting? Let's move on to the third one very quickly here, and that's trust. Trust.
It's everything. It's everything. If you don't have trust that this is a setup for your highest good, then it hurts. If you understand, if you believe, if you have any inkling of knowing, and we've all experienced knowing who's calling on the phone before the phone rings, turning the car at the last moment and getting saved. We've all had these experiences. If we remember there is a setup for our highest good, then we can navigate this world knowing we're not in control, knowing we're going to trip and fall, but knowing something great is going to come out of it. It's as Einstein said in this case when it comes to trust. Are you choosing to see the world as a dangerous, hostile place? Or in a sense, I'm really paraphrasing here, I'm stretching it, as a beautiful gift? Either way, you're right. So if you trust there's something more, if you trust there's a more beautiful way, you will find just that.
Beautiful. I can't add anything to that, Michael. The time is going way too fast. I think it accelerated when the two of us got together. I wanted to share with everybody my 3-minute practice, the sip of the divine. I've shared it with 300,000 of your followers, Michael, and 100,000 people on YouTube. It works to connect with your guides, but I'm talking here because we're talking about birthing a new world. Connect with your midwives for the new world. Your personal midwives in the higher realm. So check out the Sip of the Divine. You can find it on YouTube. But our challenge to you is to find some kind of contemplative practice like the Sip of the Divine or Michael's automatic writing. You have that great book, Automatic Writing Experience, to connect daily with your personal midwives, your guides, so that you know you are not only human. It's only through that personal experience that you're going to come to know you're part of a greater reality and find that connection that connects us all.
Beautiful. Would you mind leading us then in this Sip of the Divine?
Well, I don't have enough time to do that. So that's why I invited everybody to go to the to YouTube and see the practice. 3
Even
simple
better.
minutes. And the call to action is for everybody to do the sip of the divine every day for the next 3 weeks. It takes about 3 weeks to develop a new habit. If you can carve out just 3 minutes, like sipping your coffee every day, 3 minutes for the sip of the divine, I promise you, by the end of those 3 weeks, you won't want to stop, because you will have found peace right here within yourself. And it's a new practice that will absolutely enhance your life.
And to me, with this practice, Susan, your energy goes, Suzanne, your energy goes up and up and up and up and up. And you are starting to become the mystic who you are always meant to be.
That's it. Well, Michael, I want to thank you for helping me share with everybody what we know. Living the awakened way is a way that we hope everybody will learn to live. And then hopefully 50 years from now, people won't be reading a book and say, oh, the world is still chaotic and we're all suffering, because this new consciousness that we're all birthing together shows us there is absolutely a better way. Woohoo! All right, everybody, you go out there and help to birth a new world. Do like Michael and Jessica did and just dance your way through it.
Sending so much love to everyone and so much love to you, Suzanne.
And to you.